recently wrote a paper. The paper is 100 pages long. It's from their working group. They are talking about new space in which new banks can be made and how license will be given out. They are talking of giving out licenses to corporate houses. They are also offering NBFC's license. Let's take a look. Welcome back to Berich. RBI in a paper released on Friday, which is 100 pages long, is talking about in detail how they will give licenses to non-banking finance companies and allow corporates to set up banks. They have said promoters can own 26% of the banks and non-promoters 15%. That means 41% of the bank can be owned by a certain group of individuals. And they have opened it for discussions with the final paper to be coming out in January. Two of India's best known central bankers have lashed out against this proposal. They are in the United States. One was Raghuram Rajan, who was the governor of the Reserve Bank under Manmohan Singh and later under Narendra Modi. He had his differences with Mr. Modi and would not sign off on demonetization, and his term was not extended. His deputy Urjit Patel was made the governor of Reserve Bank, and even he quit abruptly. Mr. Modi recruited Viral Acharya as a deputy governor, a professor of economics from the United States, New York. Viral Acharya was a hawk and a very tight-laced banker. He's been talking of several problems in the Indian banking sector, and he's asked that all banks require more capital so as to be more safe. He had been relentlessly pushing the central government to pump in more money into public sector banks to make them more safe. The masters in Delhi did not like what Viral Acharya was saying, and Viral Acharya was forced to resign. But before going, he said central banks who are not disciplined will soon meet the wrath of the markets. Now, both of these gentlemen have teamed up together to write a note. They have said that the idea that a corporate company could set up a bank is a disaster. So, what went wrong, and why do you think there's a disaster? The original bank nationalization of India in 1968 was done because then government felt there was cronyism and corporates were lending to each other, and the common man was not getting enough of the bank pie from the banking. Therefore, the idea of nationalizing banks was that the common man could get access. While in initial years, SME and MSME were financed and some money went into agriculture, more and more public sector banks became more efficient and were allowed to privatize from 1991. The new generation of private sector banks like HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank did very well and made credit available to the consumer and the retail borrower. This led to unprecedented consumption and growth in the Indian economy. But allowing a corporate to set up a bank is fraught with danger. First, we have to realize the small recovery from the COVID pandemic has shown that the recovery is K-shaped. The companies with zero debt and promoters with lots of assets are now growing very fast as capital is coming to them. Actually, industries which need capital and borrow and money are not getting any capital. Therefore, they are struggling. In fact, Nirmala Sitharaman announced a 3 lakh crore guaranteed debt program, and 7 months down the line, the entire 3 lakh crore has not been disbursed. So, banks are clearly wary of lending to riskier assets. They want to play it safe. This is the background in which Mr. Acharya and Rajan have written this note. What they are saying is that this will lead to concentration of economic power in few hands. In fact, a recent article in Mint pointed out that 65% of all investments from foreign that came into India went to one single company. If this is not concentration of power, what is concentration of power? Recently, in bidding for airports, one company managed to get 50 airports. So, if you allow corporate company to set up a bank, they will have huge access to deposits. These deposits, which are liabilities on the books of bank, will find a way to go to the corporate, however hard regulation is. It is impossible for a borrower to become a lender. So what this proposal is doing is trying allowing borrowers to become lenders. They will rush in and do this, set up a bank, because this will give them access to low cost deposits, and they will be reckless. Though the lending may not be direct, there will be a lot of IOUs with one corporate lending to the other corporate, and the other corporates banks lending to this bank, and that was exactly happened in Yes Bank, and it collapsed. Why are they interested in setting up a bank is because in India banks are rarely allowed to fail, and depositors' money is always protected. In such cases, what will happen is if the banks go fut, it's the taxpayer who is going to pay out the depositor finally at some cost by merging with a PSB, public sector bank. So, this is a classic lovely capitalist policy, pseudo capitalist, I would say, where profits are privatized and losses are socialized. That is, the public will take the losses and the captains of industry will make the profits. There is no way that a borrower can be a lender when I need huge sums of money to fund my own business, and if my bank is raising money in low cost deposits, it's very difficult for me not to put my finger in that pot of honey and take a swab at it. The argument that an independent regulator will be able to control this is fallacious. Inflation in India has been running beyond 6% for a fair bit of time, but under pressure from political masters, the Reserve Bank of India willing to move on the inflation, and they will be forced to move once it becomes too late. So there is a possibility that the regulators will be controlled by the political masters. The second, even if a regulator is highly independent, it is the webs of finance are so complex that it is impossible for a regulator to reach every nook and corner, and most likely the systematic risks will be exposed much later when it is too late to plug the hole. In the case of Reliance Infrastructure and Yes Bank, the two promoter entities were involved. The promoter of Yes Bank got his private company's NCDs subscribed by Reliance's AMC, while he extended borrowing to Reliance Infrastructure. Both have gone bad. The unit holders of what was then Reliance AMC and what is now Nippon AMC have lost money. Similarly, Yes Bank has taken a big hit, and it is State Bank of India, which is a public sector bank with public money, which is now bailing out Yes Bank. Such events will become a daily pass if corporate banks are given permission. What this will mean is that few big industrialists will have huge economics and political powers, and that is very dangerous for a democratic society. The complaint now against public sector banks is that they listen to the diktats of the political master and lend when there is a phone. This is called as phone banking, and this is how IDBI lent to Vijay Malaya is the claim. Several state bank loans were made on calls of the masters. The whole idea of privatizing banks was to free them from the clutches of the political masters. In spite of being non-public owned and owned by a clutch of institutional investors, it has now emerged that there was a lot of political corruption in ICICI Bank, which is supposed to be professionally run. If corporates are allowed to set up banks, then what is going to happen is crony capitalism. Within 15 years from today, there will be an outcry for nationalizing this, and India will take a big turn left, and again we will go back to the whole thing of nationalizing the bank. Don't fix something which is not broken. All you need is tighter regulation and public ownership of banks. Allowing promoters to control banks is a sure sign of trouble. In America, with great difficulty, they have broken banks. The Morgan family is not as powerful as what it used to be. The Rockefeller family is not as powerful as used to be. The idea that we surrender powers to few corporate houses is dangerous and we must nip it at the bud. I hope the Reserve Bank and the government sees better sense than doing this. Thank you for watching Berich. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification. If you use Kindle, you can buy the book using the Kindle link given below. If you want a hard copy, send a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would get in touch with you. At the very end, if you want to get in touch with me, please send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. I am grateful for your support of Berich.